Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of the Team Daddy Weekly Recap. I am your host, Shapiro the Hero, aka Daddy Dreidels, taking advantage of this beautiful North Carolina weather and recording this week's recap from the patio of my new apartment. Week 9 is come and gone, and we saw more of the same from the top half of the standings, but a lot of movement at the bottom. We even saw a team in the bottom half of the standings lead the entire league in scoring this week, and we had a perennial contender put up a record low score. As always, we'll go around the league looking at scores and standings, but first, a word from our sponsor. This week's sponsor is Nestle Milo. A delicious, chocolatey treat, Nestle Milo may be the best thing to come out of the Philippines since Manny Pacquiao. If you're in the mood for something sweet, try Nestle Milo. As always, we'll kick things off with our matchup of the week. In a battle of two teams fighting for a playoff spot, PJ defeated Zach 213.75 to 152.58. Our highest scoring team of the week, PJ also had the two highest scoring players in Week 9, with Joe Mixon putting up 60.1 points and Captain Devontae Adams leading all scorers with 62.4. Despite the loss, Zach outscored half the league this week, led by Captain Jalen Hurts and his 36.68 points, as well as earning $10 thanks to kicker Nick Folk. With this loss, Zach drops to 3-6 and has now lost back-to-back games. He will try to right the ship next week against Big John, while 3-6 PJ will take on Kyle. Speaking of our defending champ, Kyle has also lost back-to-back matchups, this week falling to George 98.3 to 73.2. Despite not reaching triple digits, George secured the win this week thanks to Lamar Jackson and his 19.85 points on Monday night. Kyle's leading scorer once again was Rondale Moore, this time scoring 22.35 points as team captain. Kyle drops to 3-6 and remains in contention for that prestigious first to worst award, while 6-3 George has now won 2 straight. He will look to make it 3 in a row next week against Swans, while Kyle will face PJ in a battle of 3-6 teams. Turning now to the top of the standings, I faced off with Armenti this week. And as usual, while Armenti predicted that he would get blown out, it turned out to be a close game as I got the win 188.25 to 157.75. My leading scorer this week was Tyreek Hill with 32.3 points, and I also got big games from Kirk Cousins, Austin Eckler, and Captain Juju Smith-Schuster. As usual, Armenti was led by Cooper Kupp with 34.8 points, and he also got big scores from Geno Smith, Derrick Henry, and the Patriots D. Armenti has now lost 3 in a row after a 4-2 start, and falls below 500 for the first time since Week 3. He will take on Jed in Week 10, while I will face off against Cheese. And speaking of Cheesy Baby, it's a good thing he's in Europe right now, so this way he didn't get to see his team lose their 6th game in a row. This week he lost to Jed 128.4 to 111.1. Jed was led by quarterback Justin Fields with 58.95 points, and he also got 29 points from Dallas Goedert. Those two players carried Jed's team this week, as no one else other than Justin Tucker scored more than 9 points. Cheese was led by his quarterback as well, as Patrick Mahomes scored 46.6 points this week. But outside of Mahomes and Captain Jamal Williams, nobody on Cheese's team broke double digits either. At 1-8, the question now is not will Cheese be in the toilet bowl, but rather who will he play in the toilet bowl. He'll face me in Week 10, while 4-5 Jed will take on Armenti. Moving up in a second place this week is Josh, who finally changed his team name, and it looks like he brought him some luck. In our largest blowout of the week, Josh defeated Swans 166.13 to 59.35. Kenneth Walker and Justin Jefferson led the way for Josh, scoring 32.9 points and 30.5 points respectively. But it would have made no difference if anyone else on Josh's team scored any points, because those two players single-handedly outscored Swans' whole team this week. Seriously, Swans, are you okay? 3 players with a 0 and a defense on their bye week is very much unlike you. Outside of Josh Allen's 24.85 points, no one, not even Captain Tyler Bass, scored more than 9 points. And with Josh Allen facing a potential UCL injury, Swans could be in trouble as he makes that final playoff push. He'll look to break out of his slump and stay above 500 next week against George, while Josh has now won 3 in a row and will try to make it 4 against Brett. Speaking of Brett, our final matchup of the week saw Lord Brittlemort fall to our hottest team, Big John. John has now won 4 in a row thanks to a 147 to 110.18 win this week. Captain Travis Etienne led the way for Big John with 47.4 points, and he also got 23.2 points from Joe Burrow. For Brett, Travis Kelce led his team with 25.6 points, but half of his team didn't even break double digits, which ultimately cost him the game. Brett will look to get back in the win column next week against Josh, while Big John will try to make it 5 in a row against Zach. Let's take a look now at the Team Daddy League standings. I still sit in first place at 8-1, with Josh moving up into second. George is in third place, and Brett falls to fourth after his loss this week. Big John's winning streak has leapfrogged him up into fifth place, while Swans dropped to sixth, with both teams at 5-4. Jed currently holds the final playoff spot at 4-5, with Armenti behind him by a difference of only 6.5 points. After that is our trio of 3 and 6 teams in PJ, Zach, and Kyle, with 1 and 8 Cheese firmly at the bottom. Week 10 will see a large number of teams with equal records facing off in a battle for seeding and playoff positioning. Our matchup of the week this week will feature Josh against Brett, as the two 6 and 3 teams will face off for a firm hold of second place. We will also have 6 and 3 George taking on 5 and 4 Swans, as well as Jed playing Armenti to take control of that final playoff spot. A reminder that the trade deadline is 2 weeks away, hitting on November 23rd at midnight. Thank you as always for watching. This has been your Team Daddy Weekly Recap. I am Daddy Dreidels, and I will see you next time. L'chaim, motherfuckers!